Welcome back to Power and Politics. The Prime Minister is now on his way back home after spending a little over 24 hours on the ground in Haiti. Today he saw firsthand how our military is helping with the earthquake relief. Take a look at this. This is Stephen Harper. He first visited Jacmel, where Governor General Michael Jean's family lives, and that's where Canada's DART team is also running a medical clinic. The Prime Minister also tasted, as you can see, some of the water Canadians are purifying there. That's crucial. It got his seal of approval. Then it was off to Léogâne, another community where Canada has set up a full hospital and has performed a lot of surgeries there. With all this work being done right now, yesterday, Mr. Harper made this pledge for the future.
Haiti is a long-term priority for the government. We don't intend to leave this time until the job is done.
That's a big promise. Just what is the job and what are the parameters of getting the job done? How long will it take to get the job done, as the Prime Minister suggested? What part of the reconstruction job should Canada actually take on in an ongoing level? Eugene Lang is a former Chief of Staff to two Liberal Defence Ministers. Wayne Nightingale is the Projects Director at Peace Dividend Trust. That's a non-governmental organization that helps countries in circumstances like Haiti's. Good to see both of you. Wayne, just so people appreciate how intimately familiar you are with the situation, you were in Haiti for the earthquake during that time. Just tell us what happened to you and as you say, how close you came.
Well, we had arrived on the 20 after 2 flight from Montreal, and a colleague of mine was waiting. She was supposed to go to the Montana hotel, check in. But she decided to wait for me, and so we took one driver, one vehicle. So we said, well, instead of going right to the Montana to check you in, let's stop off at the office and get some work done. So we did, and we were there when the earthquake struck at about 5 minutes to 5.
And of course, your office, thankfully, was not harmed in that way, but the Montana hotel, as we all know, was totally destroyed, yes, and many lives were lost. So yeah, it was basically fate that just saved your life.
It was a go left or go right type of decision.
So you know, Wayne has an appreciation of firsthand of the kind of reconstruction necessary there, Gene, and we've all seen it though. When the Prime Minister then witnesses the devastation that all of us have seen, and he says, we're here till the job is done, what do you interpret that to mean?
That's a pretty long-term commitment because it's a big job. There's the initial job of, you know, rebuilding a country after an earthquake, and then there's getting back to the job that the international community was trying to accomplish prior to the earthquake, which was helping put in place a functioning and stable and effective government and democracy, and dealing with a lot of violence in the country, and frankly dealing with, you know, one of the poorest, most impoverished countries in the world, trying to get it a level up. Yeah, it's a big job.
It's a big job, and just to give some numbers, Wayne, I mean, Canada over 5 years has committed $555 million they've talked about. Canadians have donated 130-odd million. The government's matching that. Then they've got money to support this huge military operation. So there's a lot of money pouring in here. What was your interpretation of what the Prime Minister said?
Well, again, like Eugene said, it's a long term. It has to be looked at in the longer term, 10, 20 years. The cleanup is started. It's going to take a year or so just to clear the rubble and repair buildings that are in danger of falling. So it's a long-term commitment.
But what does it mean? In other words, so how do you start measuring a long-term commitment like this in terms, Gene, of dollars and of what they're trying to accomplish? Is it just cleaning up from the earthquake? Is it, as you say, rebuilding an impoverished country that was the poorest in this part of the world?
Well, I think the international community is kind of in the process of defining what the ongoing mission after the cleanup will look like. There's a UN peacekeeping force there now that's been there for about almost 6 years. Its mandate expires later this year. That'll have to get either renewed or reconfigured. I suspect the mandate will change. It'll get reconfigured in some case, in some way. And then there's a huge aid dimension to this, reconstruction and aid dimension that the international community is going to have to work out. And it sounds like from Mr. Harper that he intends Canada to be at the forefront of those efforts.
What do NGOs, Wayne, on the ground say about this? I mean, everybody wants governments to kick in, but there's a lot of priorities, and there's a scarcity of dollars, and there's already a lot going to Haiti, quite frankly.
Well, Canada is in a perfect position to take a lead on this and to implement some of the lessons learned that we've learned from other natural disasters or man-made disasters. And that is to, as the Prime Minister also mentioned today, I believe that engaging the government. The Haitian government has to take a lead in the reconstruction. The Haitian government has to be involved in every step of the way and lead the process. Haitian population has to play a large role in it. And it was the Haitians at the beginning of the earthquake who were helping Haitians. The community involvement took on a whole new definition for me when I saw communities banding together, looking after themselves before the aid arrived.
Now, even though that has been a huge and essential part and much discussed, the Prime Minister today kind of raised the importance of the military's role here. And Jean, give me your perspective here. He talked about Canada's purchase of these C-17 airplanes that can carry so much, they have such lift capacity. As he talked about it being part of Canada's hard power, and that it really shows the world that Canada is now a major actor when it's time to intervene in natural disasters. I mean, is this what Canada needs, and is the military and these kind of robust tools necessary for Canada to help long-term rebuilding in Haiti?
Well, on the C-17s, I think it's debatable whether that particular aircraft is what you need, but we have them, and they seem to have been very useful in this case.
Just tell me why you say that, because the
Well,
Prime Minister made a big
it's a
event.
very expensive aircraft, and there's only 3 countries in the world that actually have them, and we're one of the 3 now that have that particular aircraft. But in any event, you do need airlift to get down there, but we've done these kinds of things before. We've gotten into situations fairly quickly before. I think the real story, though, in the quickness with which Canada got down there is not so much about the C-17s, it's about how fast the government acted in making decisions back here in Ottawa. I commend them for that. Oftentimes after these natural disasters, it takes a long time for the various departments to get their act together and to make decisions, and the Prime Minister seemed to take the bull by the horns early and really got things moving.
But what about, I mean, and in your work, Wayne, what role does the military play in terms of reconstruction and ongoing stability?
Well, certainly as first responders internationally, they have the logistics, they have the resources to be on the ground fairly quickly. And they can use those resources to help other first responders, the emergency teams, search and rescue teams. That's where I'd see an aircraft like that being used most effectively.
Last word to you, ongoing, will the military be there for a long time? I mean,
sounds like it from the Prime Minister, but again, this is nothing new. I mean, the Canadian Forces had a big project in the 90s that lasted almost 15 years called the Balkans, and they had another project since 2002 called Afghanistan that's going to be almost a decade. So if we're in Haiti for another 10 or 15 years, I don't think it's anything new to the forces.
All right, there's some perspective on what this long-term commitment could be. Eugene Lang, Wayne Nightingale, thanks both of you for coming in.